Hello guys, this is Avcoor, and I'm coming to you with a general assessment of the characters before we go into tonight and we get the stats and everything. But you'll see like with these characters that we see a growing trend with zlonggames in this game in the fact that they have really mastered the art of improving their characters and making very functional and unique kits. Like we saw that with Morgan Le Fay, we saw that with Delilah, and we're seeing that with the NS and Philotia. So they're really getting better at this, and I hope that this transfers over and it breathes new life into the game. So when we talk about the NS, he's a lightning warrior, and his weapon type is greatsword. So he'd be the third greatsword SSR warrior that we have, along with Sighart and Lancelot, as both Charlotte and Peacock use rapiers, and Alecto uses a axe. So he's in line with those warriors. And more importantly, his element is lightning. This is a good thing, and I'm glad they didn't make him dark because that would have limited his overall offensive potential. Because when I did a video earlier on elements, I really believe that dark is the weakest element, as all other elements actually hit four types for neutral damage, and that is not a strength of dark since every other element can do it. But dark does not hit anybody for super effective damage, and they're actually weak versus light. So they have no element that they really trump, and the stat distribution isn't enough to compensate for that. So him being lightning actually makes him an excellent character. So when you look at his unique passive, Super Pride, I hope they change this because that sounds stupid. During active attacks, damage dealt while in combat increases by 9, 12, 15, 20%. Just remember when you first start off with this character, if you do not rank him up to 9, it will be 9%. But 9% as a damage mod is extremely good. 9% increase off the bat will show itself, so don't worry about that. This is a character that you can safely level up and develop, much like Lancelot, because this takes me some time to built Lancelot, but on along that ride, I have not suffered as much as one would think. So that is a good thing. Immunity to death when receiving lethal damage. This is super great. He's the first extra life warrior. So we know in the future we're going to get a extra life tank. So that's coming. We got an extra life healer. We got an extra life tank warrior. So we're definitely going to get an extra life tank. So look out for that. Recovers 30% of one's max HP and attains the light spirit status. Lasts for one turn. Activates one turn per battle, so you can only revive once a battle. At the fatal damage received this time is a critical hit. Removes the light spirit status. Okay, not bad. That means he dies, he comes back, and he gets light spirit status. At the end of the action, you can cast In the Name of the Night. Normal cooldown is 2 turns. That can change. Light Spirit. Physical attack power plus 10%. Physical penetration plus 20%. So I want you to think about this. Add this on to 9% damage mod, 10% attack mod, and then you ignore 20% of the unit's defense. And you begin to see that this dude has more of a one-shot build. He's not meant to fight like Charlotte and Sighart, who their goal is to attack multiple times. So their damage increases because they just hit more. His damage increases because he has so many mods on his single attack that allows him to do massive damage. So don't look for this guy to attack twice. Unless when we look at his passives later on, once we get like a hold of this character and look at his overall kit, he may have it there, but not here. Immunity to death. So during this time for one turn, he can't die, which is amazing. And recovery of 30% of maximum HP when receiving non-critical damage that leads to death. So if he gets hit by a hit that's not crit, then he just gets his HP back and he doesn't die. That's That's insane. So of course this character is by far superior to Sanakin, but there's an argument to be made with Sanakin that we'll do in a later video. In the name of a knight. When using a skill, apply confrontation status to one enemy within 3 blocks, lasting for 2 turns. If the target is a boss, the applied condition is changed to death fight, lasting for 2 turns. Both of these are important because of the new content coming out, and I believe that they actually made this character for that set content that we'll talk about in another video. So confrontation, critical chance -20. Only the caster can choose when fighting an attack target. So when he does confrontation, the person he does confrontation with can only attack him, which is really sweet because you actually want to do this after he dies, so they waste a turn trying to kill him. Or you can do this before and you think that they can kill him, and if they do kill him, he gets light spirit status. So you're seeing a lot of synergy here, and the devs are really learning how to build their characters. So this is really good. So Death Fight increases the damage received from the caster by 15%, and when caster attacks, removes one buff possessed by the caster before battle, disappears after the caster dies. So here he deals 15% more damage, and when the person attacks them, they lose a buff. Really good. Like I said, this is for a certain content that we'll talk about in another video. So his skills are really, really unique. Some more so than others. But I hate like the stuff they're giving warriors is just so much better than what they're giving other classes. So Thunderstrike attacks a single enemy, dealing 1.4 damage, average. If the target has a confrontation or death by status, the skill cooldown is -1 after battle. That's really freaking sweet. That's really freaking sweet. So this is like the skill that Sigart has, where he has his range attack. But if you like do confrontation before, like you're only gonna have to wait one more turn in order to do the attack. So Thunderstrike is really bread and butter. Silent Strike. So this is like one of those shift skills where it does one thing, but after that it does another thing. So Charlotte has this, and so does Lancelot, and it seems to be exclusive to warriors. Oh yeah, and Jin does too. So I don't really like that. Charges and reaches the furthest square within the range of 4 squares, then deals zero point 0.3 damage to all enemies in range. And inflicts broken sword. Broken sword has 20% chance of receiving a critical hit. So you can see him even rolling into building a green faction because a lot of green units depend on crits to do massive amounts of damage. Talking about you, Nola. So this character actually pairs well with Nola and her team leadership skill because not only is he able to inflict the AoE that increases the chance of receiving a critical hit, he actually gets crit bonuses from Nola herself, which is really good. So after this, it turns into Shaking Blade, attacks a single enemy, dealing 1.4 damage, gaining before battle and enhancement status, lasts for 1 turn. Oh, that's really busted because this increased your physical attack power and magic attack power by 20%. So he's getting even more damage mod. So this guy is a one hit or quitter guy. It's like they built on what made Saoirse good and they just like maximized it in this character. So Saoirse is actually going down a notch, and that's sad. And he doesn't pay an HP penalty for dealing that much damage, so amazing. So momentum riding. In case of an active attack, inflicts physical damage to another enemy within 2 blocks around at the battle. So when you saw the video and you saw him do that extra damage, that's from his unique passive. When you have light spirit status, the damage inflicted increases to 150% physical attack power. That's really insane. That's really insane. That's really insane. So the question I have is, will they factor in the physical penetration to this AoE attack? If that's the case, then this dude is freaking bananas. If they allow him to have physical penetration on this passive, that's going to be really really crazy. That'll make him like super PvP worthy, and on some level PvE worthy. Blade of Determination attacks a single enemy, dealing 1.8 damage. Before battle, reverse 4 of your debuffs. Oh wow, into buffs. That's pretty good. After defeating the target, increases the duration of Light Spirit by 1 turn and applies confrontation status to one random non-boss enemy within 3 blocks who does not have the confrontation status lasts for 1 turn. That's really good. But this consumes rage, of course. So you actually have to really think about what you want. Hmm. Because you're not always guaranteed to kill an enemy unless you have this guy at rank 9. You're not always guaranteed to kill an enemy. But if you do, so you want him to do this in light spirit status when he does his skill. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. So this is kind of situational. And it's not bad, but it's situational. I couldn't I couldn't suggest using this skill at all unless certain conditions are met. I think his skills are better here, especially Silent Strike and Shaking Blade. I think they're better because they're just one skill anyway. Thunder Strike is really good. I think Thunder Strike you'll have for most of the content you play him in because that's a really cheap condition in order to meet for you to spam every other turn Thunder Strike. That's really easy to do. So I we'll see later on, but I think Thunder Strike. I mean, probably not for PvP. PvP, you probably want Silent Strike and Blade of Determination and Momentum Riding. But yeah, Thunder Strike is really, 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 really bread and butter. Because if you get just a range attack where you don't have to worry about being counter hit, that's pretty good in PV content. And of course, this dude had a leadership skill. I knew he was gonna have a leadership skill. They just give guys like him and Jin and Sanikin. I just knew he was gonna have a leadership skill. I just was surprised when Avia of the Waves got a leadership skill, but this does not shock me. And the fact that Delilah had a leadership skill, that shocked me, but this doesn't shock me. Of course, he gets the the conditions are fire and water, which are easy to meet, especially if you put him in excuse me, in a PvP team. So you're looking at him, Delilah, and Avia of the Waves because you really want to play Delilah with this guy so she can take care of the fixed damage that his counter Electo would do. And that would definitely give him a chance in battle against her. So when I look at this fire, I really think Delilah for the whales. This is the character that you want to fill the spot, and you want Avia of the Waves to fill the spot. And the other 2 spots, one spot that I'm thinking about would have Lancelot in it. So increases damage dealt while in combat by 10% when there's a target with confrontation or a death fight within 2 blocks, within the range of 2 blocks. This is underhandedly powerful because it makes him more of a leader than other characters who possess leadership skills. Because what you want to do with this guy is you want to take some time in battle and think about what target you want to hit with confrontation. This leadership skill actually puts more meat on confrontation and what it can do and the strategies that it can be placed in. It's kind of funny how this guy got all the good stuff. Like we said, Jin got all the good stuff, and he got like half of the good stuff. But now that we're more experienced in this game, we know that this guy got all the goods. He may be lacking in certain areas, but his design and for what you want him to do, he has all the tools he needs to do it. And that is dual opponents like warriors are want to do, and then smack them with the biggest haymaker that this game's mechanics can produce. And the damage mod that he gets works more for him than even the people that he's with. And if you're smart and did like I suggested and plot where you use confrontation, then you're actually having units hit around the opponent instead of hitting around you. So maybe you do confrontation on a boss and you hit the minions. Well, some of the minions always gather around the boss, so you're hitting them for 10% more damage, which is really good. This leadership is well thought out, much like Delilah's leadership skill was well thought out. And so you can see that the devs are really, really thinking about their character designs because this is really good. Stonethorn is actually a good ability. I just don't like the critical resistance on it. Understand the synergy with his whole entire kit, but I personally don't like it. I think it should be HP. HP is so valuable of a stat in this game. When I don't see it, I have to call it out. So cooldown reset in the name of the night after an enemy with confrontation or death fight dies. This is really important. So say for instance, you kill a unit and they're in confrontation, then you automatically reset and you can just do another one. So you delete, 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 and that's pretty good. This second part is super, super good. Increases damage dealt by 9%. So he gets another damage mod and critical resistance by 9% when there's an enemy with confrontation or death fight within 2 blocks around for you. So this overlaps with his leadership skill and his unique passive that also gives him the damage dealt. So this, like when you're adding up, so that's 9%. So that's 9% with light spirit. You're getting physical attack power plus 10%, physical penetration plus 20%, and with your leadership skill, you're getting 19%. And so you, with your exclusive weapon, you get 28% increase in damage. You're getting physical attack power plus 10% and physical penetration plus 20%. That's really good. Wow, that's like that's why he was doing so much damage on the video because that's really good, and that's why he was doing so much damage with the attack with the other unit. So this is really good. Yeah, his exclusive weapon is really good. I don't like the critical resistance. I think that's Garbo, but everything else is pretty good. DNS is an assault warrior with excellent survivability and strong single attack power. I agree with that. After the action is over, the confrontation status that can be given to the enemy allows the enemy to choose only DNS as the attacking opponent. We discussed that. This can reduce the threat posed by the enemy's powerful heroes to allies, and at the same time, DNS can also guarantee survivability through death immunity. So this guy actually has an even deeper strategy than one would think. Like if you're fighting 3 units in PvP and one of them's a DPS, one of them is a tank, and one of them is a healer. If you yourself have a tank, a healer, and the Ennis, then that could be a possible checkmate. Because what does your DPS do but attack the Ennis, right? And so you're exchanging, and you can actually have the Ennis actually focus on other units. Your tank, and your healer can focus on the tank or the healer, and the DPS on their side can only attack the Ennis. That's yeah, that's game changing. So the three best warriors in PvP, the three best characters in PvP are probably going to be warriors, and that does not shock me because warrior is just such a busted class. Philotia is good too. I like her design. I think it's better than most. Is she gonna be able to compete with Avia? I don't know. I don't know. It, Avia is a tough. It's tough like to match someone like Avia the Waves because her healing output is just absolutely insane. So let's see what she can do. First, she's dark. Second, she's a priest, and she has scepter. So basically, she has everything that Alicia has. She has the element, she has the class, and she has the weapon. So if you use Alicia, you can actually switch over her gear to Philotia if you wanted to. Dark is actually really good for healers as you're not trying to actually attack with priest, you're actually trying to heal. And the stat bump that they get from being dark actually helps them a lot. In band pick, you just get rid of Lancelot, and I think she can really do a good job against Electo. And that will shock you, but her kit is really good against Electo. So let's get into it. Sacred Underworld Butterfly. I think that's better than Super Pride. Increases the healing received by allies within a 2 to 3 block range by 10, 13, 16, 20%. This is important as it allows her to increase her healing beyond that of normal healers, just at the base level. If you look at Alicia, Avia, and other healers, they have healing mods, but not as potent as hers. And the fact that it extends beyond her is really great. Like, say that if the Ennis gets hurt, then his healing mod will actually heal him for more HP. And if you use Vampire on a unit and they're in range of her, the Vampire effect will give you more HP. So it extends her healing range and the range of the whole party. So this is a good hat off to the devs because they're really thinking outside the box. Excuse me. Nullifies the debuff you have, limited to removal. This is really good because he's trying to suck up everybody's debuffs. At the end of an action, transfer 1 to 2 debuffs limited to stealing of all allies within range of 2 to 3 blocks of self and deals 1 to 2 debuffs for the number of turns. Copies 2 enemies within 2 squares of the cross, set with 7 squares of the cross. This is really important, and I would like to say this. You're looking at a very potent healer just on basis of her unique passive because she's doing something that most healers aren't doing, and that's a debuff management, which is really important in this new meta where debuffs are rampant. So we're looking at like one of the biggest strengths of Lancelot is the fact that she nullifies movement and she deals fixed damage to everybody. So your goal with this character is to have her survive Lancelot if you don't get rid of her in the ban pick, which hopefully you do. But if you don't, you're you're supposed to increase her HP and her overall physical defense stats that she can survive the 2 hit combo that she does. And better yet, with positioning, you don't want her to be behind the tank or on the side of the tank. You'd like her to be 1 square away from the tank, still in guard range, but 1 square away from the tank. So she herself does not get hit by the line attack. And then she can only take one of the AoE hits that Lancelot will do. And then she can sponge that off. And then she can take away the debuffs that are so crippling to your party. So that's one strategy that I think that you can do. And the fact that she can copy three, 3 debuffs to the enemy at max potential is really strong. So if I actually net pull this character, I'll probably build her I'll probably build her. I don't think I have a choice. I really want to build the Ennis because I like his playstyle, but I already have a Lightning Warrior, so nuts to that. So skills, Spiritual Consolation. This only consumes one skill point, cooldown 1, range 3, single target. When using this skill, transfer 3 debuffs possessed by the target to self and recovers HP. This is a super, super great cleansing skill. Probably one of the best in the game right now because you're getting rid of 3 debuffs and you can rotate this. So every other turn, you can do this. You can cleanse 3 debuffs every other turn. That's insane. Though you put them on yourself, you nullify the debuffs that you have. So this is really good. This spiritual constellation, we actually really need to really look at the nullification debuff mechanic to really understand it. But so far, so good. That's really good. If you can get rid of debuffs like that, that's going to be really great for the new content that's coming out. I think they built her for that, for the new for the new content that's coming out that we'll talk about in a separate video. But that's really good. So purification consumes 2, cooldown 2 turns, range self, range 3 diamonds. When using this skill, all allies within range are given toughness, strong confidence, heart salvation status for 2 turns. Immune to seal, recovers 50% of own max HP at the end of turn. Physical damage reduction plus 10, magical damage reduction plus 10. So this is really good. Um, this is a nod off to Alicia, where at the end of your turn you get healing. So this is a retrograde heal. It's a buff and heal at the same time, which is really good. We actually need more skills like this that actually produce more buffs because buffs are really good in this game. And for you to get it for 2 turns is really, really good. This is really good. Um, yeah, like spiritual consolation and soul purification, because of course she has the generic heal skill that you will want to keep on all the time. But if you are being creative, sometimes you don't need it because this is one cooldown. This is one cooldown, so keep that in mind. That means you can cycle between these 2 skills. So just keep that in mind. Curse of Black Star. The thing that I want you to understand about Curse of Black Star is the cooldown is 2 turns, so that's really, really good. Passive increases healing effect by 15% when owning 5 or more debuffs. Skill range plus 2. Oh, that's really good. Oh, that's really good. Active inflicts 1.5 damage to a single enemy and copies up to 5 of own debuffs to the target. That's really good. Each time the number of debuffs possessed by the target increases by 1, the damage dealt this time increased by 5%. So you want to actually have as many debuffs on her as possible. As the target already has 3 debuffs, additionally apply stun, lasts for 1 turn. I, so this character is actually the bedrock of darkness. With this skill alone, it makes her one of the bedrock units of darkness. Because not only is she purifying a darkness faction of debuffs, but she's copying those debuffs and putting it on opponents. And if you hit the right target with a certain number of debuffs, then who's getting better? Like Peacock gets better because her passive works on the number of debuffs that you have. Susie and Susan get better because their passive works on the number of debuffs that you have. Even even like Zilbanath and the other dark assassin, they work on a number of debuffs that you have. So does what is his name? Hassan. Hassan he works on a number of debuffs that you have. Even Catherine. So you're looking at a character that can really supplement a dark faction. Yeah, so they had to make a really strong healer in dark in order for darkness to be even viable. And I think they're close to achieving that. So let's see Underworld Butterfly Curtain. This is the skill that you saw in the video. When using this skill, recovers the HP of all allies within range. Recovery amount is 1 times of the caster's magic attack power. This is actually 3 turns. This is the highest turn count she has. But this is kind of like her rage skill, but it's not a rage skill. It's just like one of the most expensive skills. Creates an area of butterfly wings within the 3 block radius around the caster, and cannot act while maintaining the area for 1 turn. It can only wait for the next turn and recovers the HP of all allies within the range when the area disappears. The recovery amount is 1 times the magic attack power of the caster. Butterfly Wings Wonderland, immune to all debuffs. This is the most important part. Immune to all debuffs. Covers 50% of the user's maximum HP. 50% of the user's maximum HP with, within the range of 2 blocks. This is important too, as excuse me, sometimes you actually want based on the caster's magic attack, and then you use the healing multipliers in order to increase the overall set healing. But in certain cases, you just want to recover HP based on the maximum user's HP that is getting healed, because you're guaranteed to get past like healing limiters, like that decreased healing effect that certain characters put on nowadays. So this is really good. Her overall kit is amazing. It's not like the best. It's not like the best because it's hard. It's hard to go up against Avia the Waves. It's hard to go up against Hazel. That's just a hard order. It's even hard to go against Valek. But I think she'll carve out her place amongst them. But will she be the best amongst them? I don't think so. Crystal Butterfly. This is what I don't like. Um, Magic attack power plus 4%. I'd rather it be HP and healing, much like Avi the Waves weapon. So I do not like this part, but that's okay. After using a skill that does not inflict damage, grants Dark Shield status to the target. When there is an enemy within 2 blocks, removes 1 debuff from allies within 1 block and recovers HP. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Oh, that's she gets passive healing. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. I like this part. I do like because when you look at healers like people like Avia and Clefairy, they get passive healing when they're not using this skill, and that really puts them ahead of the pack in certain situations. Like with even Alicia, like when she puts on her dream status where after you take an action you heal, that's still important. And for her to be able to get that really strengthens her overall kit. I think this really saves her because when there's an enemy within 2 blocks, removes 1 debuff, so you're getting debuff removal from allies within 1 block of you. Your tank and recovers the HP. Your tank, that's really good. Okay, Shield of Darkness reduces elemental damage received by 20%. This is really good. So super effective damage is reduced by 20%. After receiving damage, there's a 40% chance to apply a random debuff to the attacker. That's even better. This weapon is super good. Now, it could be perfect if it was healing plus like 9% in HP, but you don't want her to be absolutely broken. But this is super good. I might have to get this character and build her. I want to build Susie and Susan, but jeez. Um, yeah, this is a mouthful right here. As a priest with a dark attribute, Philotia ignores the effects of debuffs, and she does. We have to check that, dude, because that'll be absolutely broken. We'll see, man. The devs are gonna have to limit that because that's pretty stupid. Because her whole gear set will change based on this alone. Like, yeah, there's gonna be limits. There's gotta be. Come on, that's gotta be. And has a special ability to utilize debuffs. She transfers her allies' debuffs to herself, and she has the ability to transfer debuffs she possesses to enemies. A very strong mechanic. In addition, her Butterfly Wings Wonderland area can also help allies ignore debuffs, which is pretty stupid. However, please keep her safety in mind as Philotia cannot act within the area of butterfly wings is created. So she's kind of like Rosenseal from Landgresser, where once she activates this aura, then she herself cannot function. But that's okay. That's okay. In fact, she's looking better than I thought when you like put it all together in your head. And she's actually immune to debuffs. And she's actually immune to debuffs. Then we're looking at a meta healer. If she's immune to debuffs. I think they're gonna limit that, but she's immune to debuffs. We're looking at a meta healer, guys. Oh, yeah. If she's immune to debuffs, you're looking at a meta healer. You're looking at a super meta healer if she's immune to debuffs. I think they're gonna limit that because that'll be totally gravy if they actually do that. But that means I would actually have to summon for this character. So we'll see. But yeah, I really like both of them. I think the devs are making better heroes. So I'm liking that. But anyways, if you like my content, hit the like, share, subscribe button. I'll get back to you. Have a great one and goodbye.